What happens when you are staying ahead of the curve? You'll be able to future-proof your career. By continually upskilling and reskilling and trying to do so in a strategic way, you'll be able to adapt to changes in the industry and stay relevant in a rapidly evolving job market. It means you'll also be able to take on new challenges, pursue new opportunities, and advance your career in ways that perhaps you never thought possible. The energy sector is evolving pretty quickly. Just think about it for a moment. Every year we've got new technologies, we've got new regulations, we've got new markets emerging, we've got new policies from government, and they're pushing us to adapt faster than ever before. And now it's not just a matter of trying to stay current, it's about trying to race and keep up with a future that seems to be coming incredibly quickly towards us and is constantly unfolding. Now, have you ever felt the pressure to learn something new only to find yourself overwhelmed by the options out there? Trust me, you're not alone in this. So for energy advisors, engineers, energy managers, and sustainability offers, all of those who are on the front line, staying up to date helps you stay relevant, will help open up opportunities that laggards won't see. And as commercial, industrial, and government facilities strive for sustainability goals and regulatory compliance, the expertise of energy engineers, those who specialise in energy efficiency, is more crucial than ever. But how do we make sure that we're not just keeping up, but we're thriving in this fast-paced landscape? That's what I wanted to discuss in today's video. I want to talk about upskilling quickly so that you can stay relevant and advance your career in the energy industry, more specifically in energy efficiency. In this video, we're going to be uncovering effective strategies to help you stay relevant and thrive in the energy field. I've already said that. Okay, so let's go through here. Whether you've been in the game for years or you just stop, so there's a whole bit there you're going to have to delete, gaps or whatever. Whether you've been in the game for years or just starting out, my aim is to leave you with insights that you can implement right away. I'm Bruce Rouse from the Sustainability Education Academy. So let's get into it. Let's get into exploring how you can upskill fast and make even more of a difference in your role as an energy professional. So before I get into some of the details of how to stay abreast and to even thrive in the current situation where so much seems to be happening so quickly, I just need to say, it's probably pretty obvious, it's not easy. Upskilling will require time, effort, and dedication. And it requires you to be intentional about learning, to be seeking out new opportunities, and to take some calculated risks. However, by upskilling, you can enhance your expertise, expand your network, and increase your impact. And you can become even more effective energy efficiency professional, capable of driving more meaningful change in organizations and communities. So the future of the energy industry is, we don't know where technology is going to be in 20 years' time, maybe even 10 years' time. It's a bit hard to envisage what AI is going to do. But one thing is really clear. Upskilling is not really optional. It's necessary for energy professionals who want to stay relevant, advance their careers, and make a meaningful impact. Upskilling starts by knowing the direction the industry is heading in and the skills that will be needed and looking to fill the gaps in your skills and knowledge. So one way you can do this is by reflecting on your current role, responsibilities, and goals, and where you would like to see that evolve to and where it is actually evolving. And think about some of the major trends that we have in society and how that's going to impact on your role. The obvious ones are AI, but there's also more rapid technological development. There's the aging of infrastructure and so on. There's increased interest in embodied carbon. On the reporting scope, we've got a whole lot of stuff around greenhouse gas emissions reporting going down to the level of scope 3 emissions. So think about also how that's all evolving, but also step back more into the current situations also about what are the current performance indicators that your employer is using to evaluate your success. What skills are required in the short term, the mid-term, and the longer term for you to excel in your position? And where do you think that you're falling short or perhaps missing out on opportunities? You can also start just having conversations about that. Seek feedback from your colleagues, from managers, from mentors, people who can provide valuable insights into your strengths and weaknesses. Another approach is to look to benchmark your skills against industry standards. So, for example, you can do this by looking at job descriptions for roles similar to yours and saying, it requires this and this. Oh, I don't have that skill. Oh, I really do have this skill. And so looking for that. Look at industry reports, which are looking at the future of skills, Look at research papers to get a sense of the skills that are in demand. So, for example, let's say that you're an energy manager working in a commercial building and you're interested, however, to transitioning into a role that focuses more on broader sustainability concerns and energy efficiency. So you might identify a skills gap in data analysis, carbon accounting, energy auditing, project management. Or perhaps you're an engineer who wants to move into a leadership role and you realize that you need to be developing your communication skills, your strategic planning, or your team management skills. Now, by acknowledging these gaps, you can start to create a roadmap for upskilling and reskilling. Now, I know that you're probably thinking, okay, I know where my skills gaps are. What's next? You're going to have to start to prioritize your skills development, create a learning plan, and start taking action. And you want to learn quickly. So now let's look at some creative ways that you can harness to take action and to learn quickly. Here's a bit of a hint. Learning doesn't have to be a chore. In fact, some of the most effective ways to learn quickly are also the most creative and engaging. Not always, but often are. So let's have a look at some unconventional strategies that can help you stay ahead of the curve. So one of my favorite approaches is to learn through storytelling. Think about it. Stories have been used to convey complex information and values for centuries. So when we hear a compelling narrative, we're more likely to remember the key takeaways and relate them to our own experience. So just reading dry technical reports or academic papers, perhaps you could seek out podcasts, videos, TED Talks, or even fiction books that may explore energy-related themes. By engaging with these stories, you not only gain new insights, but you develop a deeper emotional connection to the subject matter. Another creative way to learn quickly is through gamification. And being in the training space, there's a lot of talk about gamification. I'd like to see more of it. It's actually quite hard to gamify learning. But bit by bit, we're getting more gamification of learning related to energy efficiency and sustainability. Now, there's some online platforms and apps that can offer gamified learning experiences. I remember quite at least 10, 15 years ago when I was working with schools a lot, there was one called Energy Hawks, which is like a fun gamification of learning about energy efficiency. There could be energy themed quiz challenges and possibly, although I'm not aware of any, and I'd love it if you're aware of any, if you could drop a link in the chat box, virtual reality simulations. So there's a game called the Energy Efficiency Game, and you can see the link below. That's about energy efficiency in the home. There's also some business games. Just do a Google search for the Sustainable Energy Challenge game or something like that. And there's some business games where you can compete as a team, probably better if you're in a larger business. You can compete as a team and compete with other teams in dealing with sustainability challenges. So not only will you learn new facts and concepts, but you'll also be developing some problem-solving skills, some team-building skills, and a sense of friendly competition. Now you're probably thinking, what about hands-on learning? Experimentation and prototyping are indeed essential for energy professionals, especially when it comes to testing new technology and systems. And I've done a lot of this myself, and yeah, it can be a little bit time-consuming, but it's always fascinating. You buy some new technology and you test it. So by getting your hands dirty and trying different approaches, you're going to gain practical experience and develop a deeper understanding of what works and doesn't. For example, and make sure I'm not advising you to do this necessarily, but follow all electrical safety precautions. But I've built LED lights myself, and I've had some great experiences, and I've also learned a lot from. For example, I've learned a lot about radio interference. One of my LED lights that I built in my kitchen actually causes a lot of AM radio interference. So now I actually turn a light in adjacent room in the morning when I want to listen to the AM radio when I'm getting breakfast ready. So that's just an example. I learned something by doing that. The keys to this is starting small, being curious, and learning quickly. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. Like I've made mistakes. They're an essential part of the learning process. In addition to these kind of creative approaches, I also want to highlight the importance of collaboration and community. As energy efficient professionals, we're often part of a larger ecosystem that includes our colleagues, peers, and industry leaders. And by connecting with others who share similar interests and goals, we can learn from their experience and share our own knowledge and stay informed about the latest development. This may involve joining online forums or discussion groups, attending conferences or meetups, or even participating in peer mentoring programs. Building a support network of fellow learners will not only stay motivated, but also gain access to a wealth of collective knowledge and expertise. Some other ideas to consider include microlearning, where you break down complex topics into bite-sized chunks. And you may even decide, I'm just going to watch a few YouTube videos on this topic, and I'll watch them at double speed so I can absorb it quickly. Or you might enroll in some short courses like we have in the Sustainability Education Academy, which may only be an hour long, and you can get through them pretty quickly. Reflection and journaling can also help process and retain new information. And also, if you can celebrate small wins or talk about them and share with others what you've learnt, this can help you stay motivated and encouraged throughout your learning process. So there you have it. I've just given you a range of some creative strategies, some more conventional strategies to help you learn quickly and stay relevant as an energy professional. Now, if you can incorporate these into a routine, whether that's daily or maybe every Friday afternoon, you set aside some time for learning. If you can incorporate it so that you're doing it routinely, you'll not only enhance your skills and knowledge, but also stay ahead of the curve in this rapidly changing area. So I want to jump more into networking a little bit more now. So networking, you may be thinking of stuffy conferences or forced small talk, but basically it's about building relationships with people who share similar interests and goals. So it's about connecting with fellow energy professionals. And by expanding your network, you're exposing yourself to new ideas, best practices, and experiences that can help you upskill quickly. For instance, I recall attending one industry seminar where I learned about techniques for baselining the energy consumption of buildings. I'd never heard of it before. I really liked it. So straight away, straight after the conference, I went and learnt some more and started to apply it myself. So one of the most significant benefits of networking is also access to diverse perspectives. When you're working in a specific role or industry, it's easy to get stuck in a bubble, and you may not be exposed to new technologies so much, or new ways of thinking, or other ways of looking at a problem. So by connecting with people with different backgrounds and sectors, you'll gain a more comprehensive understanding of the energy landscape and of how other people view that landscape. And you might learn about some emerging trends, technologies, or regulations that are relevant to your work. Now, perhaps you're a bit scared of networking. You may think, look, I'm a bit shy. I'm not a social butterfly. I think just don't worry too much. Networking isn't really necessarily about being a people person. It's just about being genuine and curious. So you can go to industry events, as I mentioned, maybe join some online communities and forums, engage with people on social media. You can ask the most open-ended questions, perhaps share your own experiences, and be willing to listen and to learn. You could also try reaching out to people directly, whether it's through LinkedIn or through a simple email. Now, I've actually as a result of conferences I've attended or other, had some amazing conversations and met and built relationships with energy professionals and even become friends with them as a result. Another way to leverage networking is through peer-to-peer learning. That says if you form a group or become part of a group that's facing similar challenges and regularly, you could share knowledge, resources, and advice. And you can learn from each other's successes and setbacks and help everyone improve their skills. Also, remember as you continue on your learning journey that networking is a two-way street. It's not just about you taking, it's also about you giving. So being willing to share your own expertise, offer advice, and help others when you can. It's not only going to help you build stronger relationships, but also will help establish you as a trusted and knowledgeable professional in your field. And who knows, you may find yourself mentoring someone who will become a future leader in the energy sector. So by now, I hope you can see how networking can be valuable for your learning journey. And it's not just about collecting business cards or adding connections on LinkedIn. It's about trying to build meaningful relationships that can help you stay relevant, advance your career, and make a real impact in the energy industry. So go ahead, take that first step, reach out to someone new, attend an industry event, or join an online community. And if you engage effectively with that, your future self will actually say thank you. So I want to now just give you a few resources that you can use, probably a bit more conventional resources, to help adapt to change and be able to go along with change and benefit from change. So I think, and perhaps I'm biased to this because I do provide online training, I think that online courses and certifications can be really useful. I mentioned before, micro courses can be really useful when you're short on time. And so there's platforms like the Sustainability Education Academy, which I run. There's Coursera, which you've probably heard of, which has some really great courses. I've done some of them myself, very long, intense courses. There's edX, LinkedIn Learning also has short courses. They offer a wide range of courses on energy-related topics, and they can cover renewable energy efficiency, sustainability, and energy management. Now, these courses are typically designed by industry experts, and you can complete them at your own pace. For example, I've seen energy advisors and consultants benefit greatly from courses on the Sustainability Education Academy, on energy auditing and energy management. And if you regularly set aside time, as I mentioned before, and invest just a few hours a week, you'll gain new skills and knowledge that can help you tackle complex projects and make informed decisions. Now let's talk a bit about online communities and forums. So there's websites like Reddit's Energy or Sustainability. There's also online forums dedicated to energy professionals. There's LinkedIn groups, and these provide a platform discussion, Q&A, and knowledge sharing. You might want to look at the Sustainability Career Group on LinkedIn, for example. So these communities tend to have many experts involved with them, practitioners. For them to work effectively, often you have to be quite proactive, be posting, be engaging with posts. But I found participating in these online communities can help you stay informed about emerging trends, learn from what people are doing in other parts of the world, and help you become aware of new technologies. And it's also a great way to connect with others who share your interests. Now, as you explore these resources, you can also try to develop your own personalized learning plan. Identify your strengths, weaknesses, and career goals, and then prioritize the resources that will help you achieve them. For example, if you're interested in energy efficiency, you might focus on courses and certifications related to building energy management, energy auditing, like investment grade energy auditor certification, and retro commissioning. Understand where you want to be in your career, where you currently are, and where industry is moving to. By taking this strategic approach, you'll be able to stay relevant, advance your career, and make a meaningful impact in the energy sector and sustainability sector. So how do you measure your progress effectively? And I think it's worthwhile stopping to think a bit about how you measure your career progress. Are you just going through the motions with no real intent in mind? Or are you taking a more strategic approach to both improving and to tracking your growth? I think it starts with setting clear goals. What do you want to achieve in your career? Really interesting listening to something yesterday, well, not yesterday, but just a week or so ago, which is talking about how we often overestimate what we can achieve in a year, but underestimate what we can achieve in 5 years. So perhaps set yourself a 5-year goal, maybe quite ambitious, with maybe some milestones along the way, and perhaps you'll be pleasantly surprised in 5 years that you've actually gotten there. Are you looking to transition to a new role? Do you want to specialise in a particular area of energy management? Now, whatever your goals are, try to make them SMART. You've probably heard this acronym: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. For example, instead of saying, I want to learn more about energy efficiency, you could say, I want to become certified as an investment-grade energy auditor within the next 12 or 18 months. This way, you can focus your efforts and track your progress towards achieving that goal. Now, once you have your goals in place, you can then think about tracking your progress. You can set some indicators. For example, an indicator could be how many hours of study you do a week. It could be locking aside a certain time each week and keeping a track of that in the diary. It could be the number of courses you've completed, the number of industry events you've attended, the number of projects you've successfully managed. And by tracking these KPIs, you can get a sense of whether you're on track to meet your goals or whether you need to adjust your strategy. You should also be reflecting on your learning. I think I mentioned this earlier, but let's just go into a bit more detail. As you complete training courses or attend industry events, just take some time to reflect on what you've learned and how to apply it. How can you apply it now to your work? What questions do you still have? What are you still curious about? What areas do you think this opens up to you? Does what you've learned open up new opportunities for you? So by reflecting on your learning, you can identify where you need to learn more, where you might need more practice, or you can also help identify opportunities that you think would really align with what you're interested in. Another important aspect of measuring progress is to seek feedback. So you may want to, it can be a bit intimidating sometimes, but you just may want to be asking a manager or a mentor or a peer feedback on your strengths and areas for improvement. And maybe you can also just tell them, look, I'm aiming to improve in this area. Would you mind if we came back in 6 months' time and had another conversation about this, and you could tell me how you think I'm going? So don't be afraid to ask for feedback and be open to some constructive criticism. For example, if you want to become certified as an investment grade, you might set a goal for completing a certain number of training hours in a specific time frame. You can track your progress by keeping a log of the courses you completed, and then you can reflect on your learning by seeking to apply it immediately in your workplace and looking for opportunities where you might be able to get additional work opportunities. You can also get feedback from a mentor or peer who's experienced in energy auditing to get a sense of whether you're on the right track. So by having clear goals and some KPIs that you're working to, and reflection and feedback, you'll be able to get a better picture of your progress as an energy professional. And this should help you stay motivated, focused, and directed towards your career goals. And as you continue to do so and upskill and grow and evolve, you'll be able to adapt to changes in the industry and stay relevant in the job market. So take some time to think about how you're measuring your progress and make adjustments as needed. Think of it as like this. If you're just driving on a highway, it's easy to get comfortable cruising at steady speed. But if you're not paying attention to the road ahead, you may miss the exit you need to take, or maybe get caught in a traffic jam. So staying ahead of the curve is like constantly scanning the horizon, anticipating what's coming next, and adjusting your route accordingly. So by doing so, you not only be able to stay competitive, but also become a go-to expert in your field. Now, it's not always going to be easy. It requires a commitment to lifelong learning. You do need to set some time aside and do this intentionally. And I know that this can be daunting, but I actually think the payoff is well worth it. So this starts with a mindset shift. You need to be curious, proactive, and willing to take calculated risk. And be quite intentional and realize that this is possibly going to pay off quickly, but it might be a longer-term investment. It might mean pursuing additional educational training, attending industry conferences, seeking mentorship from experienced professionals. It might mean you spend some time doing online courses. It can involve networking with peers as suggested, participating in online forums. Whichever approach you take, I've mentioned quite a few of them, be intentional about your professional development and make it a priority. And when you do, I hope that you'll be amazed at the opportunities that open up and the impact that you can make as an energy efficiency professional. Thanks for watching this video. If you're interested, you may be interested in some of the courses on the Sustainability Education Academy. Just follow the links for your certification.